We're driving a 2023 Lexus RX. Coming up, we're going to share the single biggest improvement Lexus has made with the all-new Lexus RX. But first, information explosion. The 2023 Lexus RX represents the introduction of the 5th generation RX. This thing has been around forever. Let's begin with interior.
I find this very practically laid out. My favorite thing is that there's a spot to put your phone because I always forget my phone in the car and it's covered. So even if you forget your phone, no one will find it.
Another feature worth noting is you get the center armrest here that flips both directions, so everybody has access to the space here. And it's actually a pretty big space too. We got a whole box of Kleenex here because the Muzio family is currently sick.
The handle portion here has handy storage because my kiddo always collects rocks. Nice place for her to put them.
We've got this large bottle and it fits very comfortably and vertically over here in the door. Oh, and then in the center, you've got a normal cup holder here, but if we move Evie's phone out of the way, the floor raises and lowers. So here's normal level, here's the lower level. Wow.
That is very handy for accessing storage here and for getting it out of the view of the infotainment. That's great.
This area over here where the vents are, shiny black plastic, and that's going to get very smudgy and dust covered. There's a very smudgy camera view button down here. That said, overall, I like the style of the RX. I think it's kind of restrained, but still modern and very functional. The specific RX we're driving is the F SPORT handling trim, and that's shown inside here with these F SPORT seats, which I'm feeling a little bit of pressure in the shoulders, but not in a bad way, more just like kind of good lateral support. How are you finding the seat comfort?
I really like the seats because when you drive, I really appreciate that lateral
Hey, let's fold the throttle acceleration. Woo! You provoked me by noting that I drive quickly.
I like it.
Yay!
You're not in trouble.
Woohoo! The Lexus RX is a mid-size two-row SUV, and in terms of space, I fit well behind my preferred front seat position, at least where legroom and foot space is concerned. Headroom is a little bit tighter than I would hope. However, there is a standard recline function, and with the seat reclined just a little bit, I clear pretty easily. Also, I could sit in the middle position if I needed to for a little while, but if you put a kid there, it'd be good. And also, like, the floor is pretty flat. It's a very, like, minor hump in the middle there. For cargo, there's 29.6 cubic feet of space. The liftover height is a little bit high, but the amount of space is generous. There's a small bit of underfloor storage area. And I also like the fact that you've got remote releases on the left side that flop the seats down. Also, you can flip down just the middle section if you have a long item where you still want two passengers in the back.
I'm going to take off my jacket because I'm afraid it's hitting my microphone.
And I'm going to take off my pants because I'm afraid they're hitting my microphone. For accessing the cargo area, every RX comes with a power hatch, but there is a kick activation feature that works really well. It's only 150 bucks, so I would probably spring for that. Kiddo, how is it getting in and out of this SUV?
It's pretty easy. I just think the car's low.
Also, I noticed that the doors cover down to the sills. So if your legs brush against the bottom when you're getting in and they don't get muddy, that's actually really, really helpful. I never thought about that until we moved to the mountains. What about getting the car seat installed?
The latch points are exposed, which makes them easy to locate, but they are also high, which makes them a little bit difficult to use.
That said, there's enough space back there that I bet if you had a rear-facing car seat, and the aperture's open enough that getting like a proper car seat instead of our booster in here probably wouldn't be too difficult, would it?
I think that would be a simple install.
As for safety, Lexus imparts every Lexus RX with a ton of active safety features. You've got lane keeping assist, automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, daytime bicyclist detection, and intersection assist. So if you turn in front of a car at an intersection, it can apply the brakes. Blind spot warning also comes standard, and there are 10 airbags in here. Also standard is full speed adaptive cruise control. And then in terms of crash ratings, what do we think, family? Is the Lexus RX family friendly?
Family friendly.
Yeah, very family friendly. Rear window test. all the way down, boom. Armrest test. Driving in my comfortable 8 and 4, I have easy access to both the inboard and outboard armrests with my hands still comfortably on the steering wheel. And even though there's some stitching here, I find this to be a pretty soft perch on the inboard. Yeah, okay, the edge, if you get right here, that's pretty hard. But where my elbow lands, it's pretty comfy. And then outboard, it's even softer. I'm gonna go 75% inboard, 85% outboard. Hey! Would you like to see more videos like this where we review cars as a family, plus the occasional helicopter adventure? If so, you're welcome to subscribe. Style!
I really like the front end, how the grille integrates with the rest of the vehicle. Like there's that graduated, it slowly changes in texture.
Did you read the press materials?
No.
That's an astute observation because Lexus made a big deal out of that. Their spindle grille has been a defining feature for a long time, and specifically with the 5th generation, their whole philosophy was like, we're going to slowly integrate it into the rest of the fascia. You sound like marketing materials, but you're just getting good at your job, which is very impressive. You're absolutely right. There's a distinct look to the RX because it's been around for 5 generations. They don't want to screw up a good thing. So it has to continue to look like an RX, and it does, but you also have to evolve it. Basically, change it, but don't change it. You've got the C-pillar treatment, which is blacked out, which is the same from the 4th generation Lexus RX. The thing that I think is most interesting is the body line that kind of comes and curves up in profile. It's so distinct, and it's the kind of thing that if you see it in pictures, you're like, what is that? But if you see it in person, the way it plays with reflections and light and shadow is pretty interesting, actually. We're driving the F Sport version, which has unique front and rear fascias. It also has black roof rails and black exterior trim. And I think it looks pretty sporty. I think it's got a fun vibe to it. Last exterior design comment, the door handles. Sweetie, how do you like them?
I don't enjoy using the door handles on this, on the interior or the exterior. I never feel like I know when I've actually opened the door.
You're going for what is instinctively something you want to grab, and it does not work that way. There's a little switch on the inside that you pull, and that releases it. Same thing on the inside. You've got this little, it's like a button here. You just push the button and the door opens. It integrates with the Safe Exit Assist feature, meaning it'll just pause the door opening so you can't open the door into a passing, let's say, car blasting by you.
Okay, I do like that. So
you love safety.
So maybe it's worth getting used to a new door handle feel.
Whether you like it or don't like it, there is a reason for it. What do you guys think? Do you like the look of the Lexus RX? If so, if no, tell us in the comments. Onward to In Motion. As mentioned, we're driving the F Sport handling rendition of the Lexus RX. It's got some performance dampers, and they can adjust their damping intensity depending on the drive mode you're in. With all of that, you might think this is a particularly sporty SUV. It is not. It handles fine. Up here we have nothing but very, very curvy roads, and a lot of them are fairly slow speed, so you can kind of push it without going outrageously fast. And I find that as I get closer to the edge, it's just not clear like how close to the edge of the handling limits I am. And so I wish it was a more communicative chassis. All that said, nobody cares. What everybody cares about is it a comfortable ride? Yeah, it is. Is it pretty quiet in there? Yep, yeah, it's pretty quiet. Great! We've succeeded. We did the RX thing. I mentioned various drive modes, and that does get to one interesting thing. I have for a long time thought the drive modes are the kind of thing you mess around with in the first week of ownership and then you forget about it. And the fact that Lexus has put this in the screen and you have to kind of dig into it rather than giving it a dedicated button, to me makes me think maybe they agree with that Micah stance. Like, okay, let's give them some drive modes, but really, like, they're not gonna mess with it. All Lexus RXs include these paddle shifters up here. Let's go to second, and then let's floor it in second and see what happens. Whee! So a little pause until the turbos came on to boost, and then pretty strong pull. I think the powertrain has a balanced character that will make RX buyers very happy. Though we're driving the gasoline-powered version, and they've got a hybrid, a high-performance hybrid, and then they also have a plug-in hybrid, and we're going to talk about those in a little bit. All right, that's what I think about driving the Lexus RX, but what does Sweetie think? Evie's at the wheel. Okay, so the Lexus RX is very similar to the Lexus NX. You have real problems with the drive selector. How are you getting along? Because it's the same drive selector here in the RX.
Okay, I've had a little more exposure to it, so it didn't like completely blow my mind this time. But it's still unintuitive to me to move it to the side and forward to go backwards, and to the side and backwards to go forward. Yes.
So let's see if you can get it in reverse. Whoa. While you're backing up, good opportunity. Let's talk about those blind spots.
There's a huge B-pillar right here. That's probably okay unless the car is very low over my right shoulder.
As you steer your way around these corners here, how does the steering feel in terms of effort?
It feels very light.
Feel free to accelerate out. Whee! How did that feel?
That felt good.
Yeah, so what we have is a turbocharged engine, and there's the potential that off the line it might feel a little lethargic because you have to wait for the turbos to come to life. But in this case, no, it seems like there's plenty of acceleration from a stop. Overall, are you comfortable driving the Lexus RX?
I am. This is in the sweet spot for me of large enough for all the passengers and cargo, but small enough that I feel comfortable behind the wheel.
Truly lives up to its mid-sized name. Very good. I'm getting back in the driver's seat. In total, I think Lexus knows their customers, and they've made a vehicle that will probably make them pretty happy. Moving onward to emotion factor. Deviating slightly from the Lexus RX, are you about to buy sunglasses? If so, perhaps you like to buy the most rugged, durable, best looking, lightest weight sunglasses we've ever used. There's a reason we use them in a helicopter. There's a reason why we use them anytime I have a helmet on or just in my daily life. If you're curious why these sunglasses are so good, you might want to learn about flying eyes in the link in the description below. If you use the promo code Micah, you'll save 10%. Discover the magic of flying eyes. Do you think there's some emotion here, sweetie?
I think from the exterior styling, yeah. It's such a unique design. It's definitely bringing some emotion for me.
Yeah, I think that the design goes a long way. We've talked about it many times before that there's a Lexus modifier where people who buy Lexuses feel really good because it feels like, oh, what a responsible, thoughtful choice. It's such a reliable vehicle with great resale values. I feel good about owning a Lexus. Overall, I think it's a very justifiable choice, but it also pulls enough emotional levers by design and perhaps some features. I mean, maybe not as emotional as that Cayenne that just blasted by us, but you know, there's some positive emotion here. What do you guys think though? Are you feeling emotionally drawn to buy a Lexus RX of your very own? If you are, you may need to sell your current car first. Click the Kelley Blue Book pricing link in the description below to see what your current car is worth or how much you should pay for your upcoming Lexus RX. Onward to remarks. In the beginning of the video, we teased that we were going to share the #1 improvement Lexus made to the RX. And by the way, yes, we are still sitting at the slide here. The #1 improvement is right here. They used to have that remote touch interface. Instead of having to use a little remote pad here and then control a cursor up here and all this confusing stuff, you just have a touch screen. The standard screen is 9.8 inches. Here, we have an optional 14-inch screen. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto both come standard, both wireless. And overall, I think it's pretty easy to use.
My eyesight is a little bad, so the icons on the side are a bit difficult for me to see, but it's a very simple menu that I'm sure you would memorize quite easily if it was your daily vehicle.
Oh, speaking of, hey Lexus.
What do you want to do?
I want to turn down my temperature to 70.
Setting the driver's temperature to 70 degrees.
That's it. Kneel before me, machines. Do my bidding. Haha. You can use your voice to control the vehicle, but you don't have to be a about it like I was. One potential area of controversy, though, are these little pads right here. Sweetie, you want to talk about it?
They don't have any markers on them to indicate what the functionality is. That's because you can change the functionality and you can view what that is in the head-up display. But if you have a poor memory like I do, you might find that difficult to use.
I'd much rather it have like an actual indication of what it does on here. Like, it's weird that I have to look on the back of that Volkswagen Tiguan to know how this button works. And then we also have the optional 360-degree camera system, so it creates kind of a quasi see-through image when you're backing up or driving forward, so you have a really good sense of what's around you. All right, it's the Muzio family smell test. Our daughter is particularly susceptible to new car smell. Not a fan. Kiddo, How do you find the smell of the Lexus RX? Is it good, bad, or just okay?
Bad.
Oh, it's bad. What do you find bad about it?
I think someone was smoking and the person that was smoking drove in
Did you say the drove it here or threw up in here?
here. Drove in here.
Okay, well that's much better then. Yeah, they were smoking and then they threw up. Whoa! All right, kiddo thinks it smells bad in here. I think it smells fine, but I'm not the one who's sensitive to new car smell. And that was the Muzio family smell test. Sweetie,
Yes,
can I give you a trim recommendation?
you sure will.
I sure will. By the way, our trim recommendation is which trim will give you the features you would regret not getting, but at the lowest possible price. We're going to recommend the base $47,400 RX trim. It has 8-way power heated front seats, faux leather trim, 12-speaker audio, a power hatchback, a rich suite of driver assist tech, and smart key access. All right, let's talk about engine choices. Engine choices include a base 2.4-liter turbocharged engine in the RX 350. If you want to add all-wheel drive, that'll be an extra $1,600. Then there's the RX 350H, which is a 2.5-liter hybrid, and it only comes with all-wheel drive. Higher up the food chain, there's the RX 500H F SPORT Performance, and that is a 2.4-liter turbocharged hybrid with a 6-speed automatic transmission for a more direct acceleration feel. Lastly, at some point, Lexus is going to introduce a 450H Plus plug-in hybrid. We don't know the price, EV range, or power figures yet, but it will arrive eventually. As for the competitors, you got vehicles like the Acura MDX, Genesis GV80, BMW X5, and Mercedes-Benz GLE. All of those competitors are pricier than the Lexus RX to varying degrees. If you look at the Germans, they're much pricier. Did we miss any remarks? If so, tell us in the comments section. Synopsis! In thinking about the essence of the Lexus RX, it's comfortable, stylish, and comparatively cheap. To me, it is the Volcom pants I'm wearing of mid-sized premium SUVs. These things are very, very comfortable, and yet compared to other pants, they're pretty darn cheap. Family, I think we've done a good job reviewing the Lexus RX. May I have a 5 and a 5? And you can get your high five. Ah!